It was a cold Friday evening in downtown Chicago, and the city lights glowed against a sky full of rain. Michael, a 34-year-old single dad, was hurrying out of his second job, bartending at a fancy corporate event, when he heard a voice behind him say, "Wait. Can you help me for a second?" He turned and saw her. Dressed in a sleek black dress and heels that probably cost more than his rent, she looked every bit the powerful CEO. Her name was Claire Hamilton, head of a major real estate company, and from the look in her eyes, she was desperate. "Just act like you're mine for tonight," she said in a low, nervous whisper. Michael froze, not sure he heard her right. I beg your pardon," he asked, half smiling in disbelief. "Please," she said, glancing over her shoulder. "My ex is here. He's with someone new. I can't let him think I'm still alone." Michael blinked, trying to process it all. He wasn't the type to play pretend, especially not with someone like her. But there was something about the way her voice trembled, like she was strong but exhausted, that stopped him from walking away. Before we continue, if you love heartfelt stories about kindness, second chances, and humanity, make sure to subscribe to Kindness Tales. Don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us spread more warmth in a world that truly needs it. Michael gave a small nod. "All right," he said softly. "But just for tonight." She smiled, relief washing over her face. They walked back into the ballroom together, her arm gently looping through his. The moment they entered, the whispers began. The CEO, who was always known to be tough, alone, and untouchable, now walked in with a man by her side. For a while, Michael played the role. He smiled when she smiled, held her hand when she seemed nervous, and spoke kindly to her business partners as she introduced him as someone special. What surprised him most wasn't the glamour of the night, it was how human she seemed underneath all that power. She laughed awkwardly, fumbled over a few words, and blushed when their hands brushed. Later that night, as they stepped out onto the balcony for a break, the rain had stopped, and the city sparkled below. "Thank you," she said quietly. "You saved me back there." Michael smiled. "You don't have to thank me. I know what it feels like to need a little help." She looked at him curiously. "Single dad, right? You mentioned your son earlier." He nodded. "Yeah. Liam's 7. Smartest kid I know. He's the reason I work all these shifts. Trying to give him the life he deserves." She smiled softly, but her eyes grew distant. "You're lucky," she whispered. "To have someone who needs you. I have everything money can buy, and somehow, it still feels like I have nothing." Michael didn't know what to say, so he just listened. Sometimes, silence is the kindest thing you can offer. A week later, Michael was surprised when Claire showed up at the small diner where he worked mornings. She walked in, still looking elegant, but there was something gentler about her this time. "Coffee?" he asked, smiling. "Or are we pretending to be in love again?" She laughed for the first time, a real, unguarded laugh. "Neither," she said. "I just wanted to say hi. And thank you. I never properly did." Over the next few weeks, Claire kept showing up, sometimes for breakfast, sometimes just to talk. She'd ask about Liam, about his day, and slowly, their conversations turned into something warm and real. She learned that Michael wasn't just a kind man, he was the kind of person who saw people, not titles. One rainy afternoon, as she sat in the diner corner while Liam colored in his sketchbook, Claire watched them both quietly. "You know," she said softly, "that night at the gala, you didn't just help me save face. You reminded me what kindness looks like." Michael looked up, smiling. Sometimes, the smallest act can change more than we think. Then came the day she made a surprising offer. "Michael," she said, "my company has a community project, housing support for single parents. I'd love your help organizing it." He was stunned. Me? I don't have corporate experience. You have heart, she said simply. That's what people need more than anything. He accepted, not for money or prestige, but because he saw a chance to make a difference. Working with Claire, he saw another side of her, one that cared deeply, one that stayed late just to make sure every struggling parent had a safe place to call home. And she saw in Michael the quiet strength that comes from love, responsibility, and decency. Months passed. The project succeeded beyond expectations. Local news even covered it, calling it a new kind of kindness. And one evening, as they stood outside a newly finished housing unit, watching families move in, Claire turned to him and said, "You know, I meant it that night. When I asked you to act like you were mine." Michael laughed softly. "Yeah, I remember." She took a deep breath. "Well, I don't want it to be an act anymore." For the first time, he was speechless. She wasn't the cold CEO from before. She was just Claire, a woman who had learned that success without compassion means nothing. "I'm not rich," he said quietly. "And my life's messy." She smiled, her eyes kind. "That's what makes it real." They didn't rush things. They didn't turn it into some fairy tale. But slowly, over dinners, laughter, and shared work, something beautiful bloomed between them, built not on money or status, but on kindness, respect, and shared purpose. A year later, when the city opened another housing project, Claire and Michael stood side by side cutting the ribbon. Liam ran up to them, holding both their hands. Cameras flashed, people cheered, and for a moment, everything felt right. After the ceremony, a reporter asked Claire what inspired her to start the project. She looked at Michael, then smiled. "It started with one small act of kindness," she said. "Sometimes, pretending to care can turn into truly caring, if your heart is open." And that's how a lonely CEO and a struggling single dad taught each other something life-changing. Kindness isn't a transaction, it's a bridge. It connects people who might never have met otherwise. It heals the lonely, lifts the tired, and reminds us that no matter how different we seem, we all need the same thing: compassion. So, if you're watching this right now, remember, your small act of kindness might be the beginning of someone else's story. Be kind. Always.